And we're in for the second attempt at Bedouins. This time hopefully it's going to be working for them. The civilizations are of course going to be the same, Spanish, Chinese, Mayans and Persians for both teams. And well, right now we are already checking Chocobo yet again, as he's having a nice spot right next to the pond with all the shortfishes and whatnot, and he's going to be having enough stone and gold nearby quite alright, so it seems to be going quite fine, but he's very close to slam. Oh, this is actually quite funny. He's very close to slam in there. Yeah, and he's the far one. Oh, I'm not sure he's going to be all that happy about this. That's going to be Persian against Spanish. In which case I will be favoring Spanish if he's going for fast castle, which I'm kind of expecting that he will. And otherwise we are the rest of the players. So Spring is here at the top. He's going to be next to Influenzina and Metalteus, which, contrary to what I believed a bit ago, is actually really Metal, the arena player. So I kind of thought that that's not going to be possible, that it's actually him, but apparently, yeah, that's my first Nations Cup match with USA. So if he has played in the previous matches, you probably know that. That is him. But otherwise, this is really going to be quite curious, because I for a moment thought it might be advantage for Chocobo, but it's actually going to be quite significant disadvantage from Chocobo. Because he's going to be basically all alone across, rather amongst the USA. That's absolutely horrible for him, of course. You can see that right now Bustos is going to be so far away in the corner. Yeah, well, that's a safe position for you, but Chocobo, of course, it's not going to be safe. As on the left, it's going to be May together with Chart. Going to be pretty much a good combo in there. But really, this is going to be quite curious to see what actually happens, because this should be a significant advantage for USA. And if they play it correctly, they should be easily annihilating Chocobo before actually enemies get into some kind of significant gameplay or whatnot. Or if Chocobo plays it correctly and plays really well, he could be basically killing Slam before he's able to do anything. I'm not really sure what's gonna happen. This is definitely gonna be an interesting game. Definitely going to be quite interesting game in here. And we are in for something quite unusual overall. So how's it actually going to be looking with the civilization duos? You have already seen the Chocobo Spanish versus Persians from Slam. On the left it's going to be May as Persian with his ally Chart as Mayan, so Persian Mayans. That's not bad. Horses and archers, that's actually a pretty good combo. They're going to be against Chinese with Spanish, so potentially horses and archers as well. So kind of similar. I'll be slightly favoring the Mayans with the Persians, especially because of this easier early aggression from the Mayans and whatnot. So I'm kind of thinking that might be coming into play. But this is probably going to be the focal point of this game between the Chocobo and Slam. And curious if there's going to be some kind of fast and early assistance by Spring, as he is the Mayan and he should be definitely helping, and he probably will. As the Mayan, if they communicate well with Slam, he should be helping him, because of course you'll be expecting that Chocobo will be coming for the faster castle age, for the Conquistadors and whatnot. So against that, archers are not really half bad. That's actually pretty good. Pretty good option for that, as you of course in the early game going to be just looking around. Bedouins usually spawn quite fair, and there are limited options where you could be actually placing your town center in a bad spot. So yeah, I feel Japan will, what did he say? I feel Japan will mass a sea flu. Okay, they could. They definitely could go for scouts, because they did in the first game. They raided quite a lot, especially May. So we might be seeing something similar to that in this game as well. But otherwise, really, you can see all the resources are in pretty nice spots. Only one who could be kind of unhappy about the spawn is kind of Influenzino. You can see that he's having actually the stone in the forward. And otherwise, the gold mine is where? Oh, I was kind of looking if this gold mine wasn't his, but it almost looks like that it's actually his gold. In which case, that's pretty bad. Now, that cannot be his gold, that's nonsense. But it maybe actually is, because this gold seems to be May's. This gold is quite probably Chart's, which really makes this gold actually Influenzino's. That's pretty bad for him. This gold is probably going to be his allies? No, he has the one in there, because there's no gold at the back. You can see it very, very far away. Potentially could be considered Flus, but that's very far away from him, so not really. I'm really not sure how he's gonna actually handle this situation. I don't think that he plays the TC all that well. He plays it well as far as his team goes, so that he's close by to Metalteus, or other Metal, but otherwise the gold might be a problem for the green player. Let's see. Anyway, we are right now in a bit of a pause. We cannot really call Re at this stage. I don't really think so. We are already 7 minutes in. I'm just gonna quickly check if something is going on in the game room. Apparently not. So it's just a regular pause as they are just now returning back into the gameplay. And of course Slam, he seems to be having pretty decent position, enough gold all across the map, some boars there. Right next to the TC he's having gold mine in there. And Chocobo, on the other hand, is exactly in a bit more difficult situation as well. Even though he does have a lot of gold mines around him, basically in all the directions. This one is unsafe, of course, because it's next to the TC of the enemy. This is quite far away. This also enters the enemy. So basically the only gold mine is going to be the one at the back. And it's reasonably far away from the TC. So potentially abusable by Raiden. And that's not something that he wants. So not sure if Chocobo is going to be happy about where he actually spawned. If he actually scratched the fact that he spawned in the middle of enemy base. That's of course the first thing that actually he's going to be unhappy about. Anyway, feudal ages are coming up from Influenzino, Chocobo and Slam. Chocobo going to be slightly faster apparently. He's going to be at 17 villages, Slam is at 18, so that's the reason why he's going to be slightly faster. As he's having a bit more villages, otherwise somebody climbing up, only Bustos it seems like. He's already at 22, and maybe, just maybe Metalteus as well. But Bustos definitely seems to be aiming into Fast Castle, or rather Fast Castle. He's having just a bit more villages, he's also Chinese, so let's not call it yet. Let's not call it yet, but I would be kind of expecting that Metal might be having some thoughts like that, because of course he's used to Arena and whatnot. So boom in and into Castle Age and whatnot. Exit egg, yeah, I have absolutely no idea what that means. He's probably maybe just asking for a bit of a flare to actually let his, or rather so that his allies let him know where he should be building or whatnot. Yeah, and it seems like he's coming for Fast Castle. He's going to be coming for Fast Castle as I expected, which might be really giving a pretty good opportunity for the Mayan, for Mei. With Persians, and of course his teammate Mayan on the left side. Chart to actually go forward and be quite annoying. Let's see if they're going to be using that. So far they are just walling, going for barracks in there as Chart is advancing, and he probably will be coming with the Raiden pretty soon. Yeah, he will need to somehow stop this walling from coming up, otherwise it could be kind of easier for Metal to actually go into his Fast Castle as he plans. And let's switch. How's it gonna look in here? And apparently it's going to be a bit of a tower rush from Chocobo. That was something that actually was at the back of my mind. That could happen. That's something that players sometimes do when they are spawning very close to each other. And that's exactly what happened right about now here for Chocobo and Slam. And Slam, well, he was going for a bit different towers, but of course towers that are not going to be doing anything at all. So Chocobo already towers up, denying the gold, and luckily for the purple, or rather, that's not purple, that's orange player, he does have extra gold at the back, which he most probably knows about. Where is Glem? Here he is. Yep, he knows about the gold at the back, and that's all that he needs if he wants to survive in the next game in here. Otherwise, that's going to be probably tower, no, just an outpost, that he sees if his opponent is coming that way as well. But already the tower is super important one to protect the gold mine. That is going to be crucial for Slam, or rather for Slam as well, but more for Chocobo. But if Slam wants to be annoying his opponent, he will most definitely have to deny this gold mine, as he's right now exactly attempting to do through the sneaky tower, as he went around, and he's going to be trying to make the life harder for Chocobo as well. So nicely played so far by those two. I'm just right now basically waiting who is going to be joining them, as this is actually very nicely played by Chocobo, those outposts, because he needs to see at all costs when the allies of Slam are going to be coming in to help. You can see that right now Metalteus is going to be building inside the base of Spring, quite interestingly. Both Blacksmith and Market, as apparently there's going to be tower coming up from Chocobo as well, and he's trying to basically slow down both of the players that he can reach. Even being annoying right about now on Metal. It's nicely played, but so far we don't really see any kind of offensive by May or by his teammates. So it seems like that everybody is just heading into the faster castles and not really interested in the early aggression. Just basically those two, Slam being forced to it and Chocobo the one forcing it upon his opponent. Yeah, apparently faster castle coming up also from Slam. So it almost looks like the Chocobo is going to be the only one, or rather, not only one, but one of the ones they are going to be sticking. They are going to be sticking to the fuel age for a bit longer. Apparently that's going to be another watchtower, but just way too late. Way too late, as he has absolutely no idea that counter tower is already coming up from metal. Yeah, right now he sees that it's way too late for him to build a tower in there, and he will have to do something a bit different. And the bit different is probably going to be running away somewhere, because of course those villages are in high enough numbers, and I don't think they are going to be just letting this pond out of their hands all that easily. It's in range of the tower, but of course the villages are in enough numbers to pull it up. Anyway, and with the scout cavalry from Bustos, any kind of potential attack by the villagers would be a bit harder. So this is actually very well played, and he will be denying the shoreline. At least those two villages, I'm thinking. Not sure if he's going to be shooting all the way there. As finally some raiding is going to be coming up from May. And I'm not sure if it's just normal scout from the start, or is it actually something more? It seems like that it's just basically standard scout from the start. Probably not all that many extras. Yeah, just a sheep in there. So that seems to be just the starting one. And the tower is up, denying exactly what he needs to deny. And of course, Spanish is already in the castle age and going to be dropping the castle in there. Castle age from Influencia as well. As Chocobo is still trying to do something against Slam, but apparently Slam seems to be quite comfortable with the map so far. When walled himself off, having the gold as much as possible, having the stone in there as well as he needs it, if he needs it. And seems to be quite happy with how the game is going so far for him. So Chocobo did play some interesting towers. I don't really see what he's going to be doing about now. Well, that was cheeky. Right next to the TC without actually blue noticing apparently. And it's going to be another one trying to deny the woodline altogether. Maybe even some shorefish in there. And as the advances are of course coming up, some raiding coming up as well. And not really anything all that significant, as horses are going to be the unit from the Chinese so far. And the Mayans are going to be supplying some extra crossbowmen, of course, for a bit of raiding against Influencia. But of course the castle ages are in. And the only ones who are not in castle ages are Slam and Chocobo. They are probably still going to be sticking to them for a bit longer because of the way that their game went in the early stage. And it seems like almost that they are kind of in their own universe a bit. Even though I kind of worried for Chocobo because he's not really doing anything against Slam, letting him do whatever he wants. Whereas he's trying to be annoying to Spring. And maybe, just maybe hoping that his allies are going to be fast enough with disrupting their Influencia and Metalteus from the left before he's gonna get killed by Slam, because so far I'm really thinking that Slam is just going to be annihilating Chocobo in proper order. Proper order indeed. Layer 7, Monk, Knight and Siege. What is actually 7? I'm not sure what 7 color is. I'm thinking it should be gray or teal. Not sure. Not sure at all. But of course right now we are looking at Influencia finally having some horses, getting some stray crossbowmen, and that means the chart will have to be a whole lot more careful not to use units needlessly from now on. Yeah, camping his gold, of course. With some knights from Bustos and, well, even some mangonels on top of that, because you can see that Bustos is quite aggressive. He has gone from all the way down in the corner, all the way into the middle of enemy base in here. So Japanese basically follow with what they did in the first game. They are playing very aggressively, and it so far seems to be working very well for them. On the score, they are winning by about 100. That's not anything all that huge, but of course they are quite annoying, killing villages here and there and making this game not easy for USA at all, even though they could be potentially having some advantage through, of course, Chocobo being in pretty difficult situation. It seems like that he has been able to somehow stall Slam on the right side as well as possible. He's doing a pretty good job because Slam is not doing anything at all. Whereas in the meantime, Chocobo is of course trying to disrupt Spring, and he's doing so quite effectively. And it's also annoying Metal as well, because of course right now he has to deal with not only Bustos but with Chocobo as well. And that's not really all that easy task to do, especially when we consider that Chart and Mei are still very much present with Radiant in there, with some crossbowmen. Going to be trying to kill at least the monk, potentially. Yeah, well, apparently not now. Oh, these villages are just so dead. Oh, he's apparently gonna miss them. Is he not? Let's switch into Chart, his point of view. Oh, he just missed them. That's a bit of a shame for him, of course. Big luck for Metal. Because if he lost those villagers, that would be definitely sucky. But he's probably going to be circling back around the castle and into those guys. Yeah, careful, castle tower. But he has at least seen a few villages in there and whatnot. And Chart apparently is being slacked by Chocobo. Which I don't think is a bad choice, because even though we are having the mod on the Nations Cup, that's making it quite a lot difficult to actually effectively sling because of the extra taxes and whatnot. I'm really thinking that this is not a bad idea, because Chocobo is more or less useless in this stage. All he has to do is basically kind of be the buffer against Slam, and then build some towers and whatnot, but right now his economy is in tatters and overall his gameplay is not really good. So if he can actually help his teammates be a bit stronger right now, it could help them, but unfortunately they need to do a whole lot better than let themselves be caught in a battle in 1 versus 3, which is exactly what happened here, as Chart was caught off guard and Influenzia together with Spring and of course Metal, they just absolutely annihilated all the army that he had in there. So apparently Siege Workshop being to be built, or rather going to be built by Flu, as he's going to be pushing forward through the left side. Crossbowman yet again up, and well, otherwise just a few horses in there and whatnot from Mei, trying to get rid of the military buildings that were built a bit before by Chinese, by Flu. It's almost looking like that actually the pressure that so far the Japanese were having is kinda abating. Yeah, the Conquistadors are just right now into high numbers, so they would definitely need the monks, exactly as they are right now waiting in there. And he needs to right now wait for some correct placement, so that he can convert all of them with some proper micro, and once he does, then that could be turning the battle right there, because losing so many Conquistadors, and especially them coming into the other side, that's a huge problem in any kind of game. Looking so far at the economies, that's going to be 40, 75, 57, 62. Whereas for the opponent, 64, 50, 45, 52. That's more or less the same. We could be saying slightly better for the Japanese. Especially right now, looking at Bustos, is definitely booming very well indeed. And the best of all, basically having more than 13 villages more than the best USA. And that could be really something quite significant. But of course, right now, the Radiant is going to be coming back into Japanese base. And those guys, those Chemos and Knights, yeah, not sure they're going to be really that strong enough with proper micro from Metal, if that is gonna come. In the meantime, trying to kill at least a few villages here and there, as Chocobo is trying to move a bit through south, with all towers absolutely everywhere. In the meantime, it's kind of looking like that actually, I'm thinking that Slam is slinging as well. Slam, yes he is. Yes he is, he's slinging as well, and quite more into Influenzia here. You can see basically the double of the sling that so far Chocobo is sending. And Chocobo, well, he's going to be losing all the towers and whatnot. I'm not exactly sure what his game plan is going to be. If he's going to be just sticking to the sling game, probably so. Those two players are probably just gonna be doing that for the rest of the game. Whereas their teammates are going to be trying to somehow battle and win the game for them. As apparently, it's going to be time for Spring to get rid of Chocobo, it seems like. Yeah, it seems that he's going to be coming onto the right side with all the plume touches, as of course Mangonels together with a few horses and with a ton of monks. That's a pretty decent army and pretty problematic one, of course, right now for Metal Tails, because he's having just some Conquistadors and they are not even home, and they have, exactly as expected, absolutely annihilated the yellow army from Mei. And right now Bustos is going to be paying for it, because of course he doesn't have any kind of defense at home at all, so he needs help from his allies, but it's unfortunately not coming. And it doesn't seem like that he was really noticing all that much fast enough. Yeah, just now he's coming back. He already lost about 2-3 villages, it seems like. So that was kind of unfortunate for Japan, but we mustn't forget that already Influenzia is broken through on the left, through the palisade. That's not exactly hard to get through, but he is knocking on the door of Char quite significantly, and Char doesn't seem to be really ready for that. You can see a few units being hidden in there from May, but definitely not enough. And those archers, they are not going to be doing anything against horses at all. So, pretty good timing, as Influenzia is right now coming forward. Coming forward with everything in there, and yeah, this is looking quite tough for actually Chart, but still, I kind of think that they should be able to defend. They are right now going to be getting rid of at least the Mangonel, which is going to be costing them the whole army, rather the whole Chemos, because of course they're not gonna be able to get away from this at all. But the TC loss, that's a much bigger problem in there, because he also lost quite a ton of farms in there, and that is not great at all, even though he is advancing into Imperial Age. Yep, this is exactly the worst moment for him to be losing economy at. Once he is advancing into Imperial Age and hoping to get some extra, very expensive upgrades in there. Otherwise, Imperial Age coming from Flu and from Bustos. You will be expecting that from those players. Some conversions, otherwise the monks are of course gonna die pretty soon. But with the reinforcements of the Chemos, and on top of that some of the Puntaches, it's looking quite alright right about now. So they shouldn't be losing, and they should be repelling right now, of course, Influenzia, because so far we don't see all that much of a help from Metalteus, and that's basically because Bustos is camped inside his base, trying to basically conquer him right there. And even though the Conquistadors at the back are still kinda alive-ish, they are, oh well, you can see they have killed so many villages already. Bustos is actually right now at 74 and Spring is at 106. So even though Bustos was so much better off, he has lost a ton of villages in there, and he has basically let in Spring to be a whole lot better. You can see that right now Chocobo was kinda half deleted. He's at 46 villages, 26 hidden somewhere because of all this raiding. So yep, Chocobo is going to be more or less useless, which means that Slam is going to be all the more important at this stage of the game. But Chocobo apparently not wanting to be having anything of that. Going with some towers still, trying to at least annoy Slam and force him to invest some resources into whatever he wants, but just not sling them into his allies. It's probably going to be all up to Bustos to win this game for Wars, aka Japan A, because otherwise Spring is definitely getting into beast mode. Some archers coming to the bottom, trying to get rid of course, those Conquistadors finally. Or remaining ones going to be fairly easy for all this squad to get rid of them. And well, of course they are right now going to be attempting to push forward as they have repelled Influenzia, but with his Imperial Age and Cavaliers coming up, it's going to be getting quite harder, because I'm kinda thinking that Chart, even though he's coming for Arbalests, I'm kinda thinking he will be needing assistance with those pretty soon, and he should be forced into barracks and into some halberdiers in some no time. Because of course you cannot fight against Cavaliers with just Arbalests, it's just going to be kinda nonsense. And especially since this is going to be resulting into Paladins in some reasonable time. Or rather, not! God damn it, I was thinking that he was actually Persian. Oh man, he's Chinese, so of course that's going to be just Cavaliers from him and nothing extra. Oh man, that's bad. But of course this is very well timed by USA, and they are going to be absolutely annihilating them. Oh, I was thinking so, but Metal kinda got cold feet, apparently. Not wanting to engage on the castle fire, but yeah, well, still this is going to be coming quite alright for USAA, and they are pushing quite inevitably forward, and losing a castle in there might be quite costly, even though the second one is just now coming up exactly on time. But much more importantly, they are getting into May's base and May's economy, so this is another big problem. Exactly what was the problem for, of course, May on the left side, or rather for Chart on the left side, so right now it's going to be for May. And they are quite simply pushing forward, and I don't exactly see how Bustos will be the one that will be faster than that advance, because that advance is very strong from the USA team. In the meantime, though, he still does have a bit of a chance to at least keep Metal busy, which is giving time to basically both May and Char deal with one opponent with just Flu, and it's kinda sad that two players are not going to be able to deal with just one, even though there is the sling, of course, into Influenzia from Slam. It still shouldn't be that strong, especially considering that Chocobo should be slinging as well, even though he's not slinging as strong because he's trying to push forward. He's right now trying to make life difficult at least a bit for Slam, but nothing really all that significant. But yeah, the economy 53 from Chocobo, Slam is at 78, so you can see that the Sling is going to be much better, of course, from the orange player, as he's right now going to be playing with Spring as well. And we are basically just waiting for Spring to be the deciding force in the game with his strongest economy, 132. May having the strongest economy from Japan, 119. But yeah, those Bloomed Archers are just joining in, and it's going to be a proper 2v2 with Influenzia and Spring against May with Chart. Various Bustos is going to be having a bit of fun with Metal in there, in the middle of the map. Yeah, Cavalier still present with some, of course, Chemos from the Persian, as he is right now coming for heavy Chemos, and finally Slang coming into Castle Age, so not really interested in slinging anymore. And, well, this is basically the plan for Japan A to somehow win the game. They are advancing through the middle. He's advancing through the middle. He basically wants to cut the opponents off, cut into their heart, and delete Metal. And if he can somehow make this work, it could be definitely a good idea. But you can see what's exactly right now coming, and that's a spam. Spam of Eagle Warriors from very nicely boomed Slam, or rather Slam Spring, starting as both of these. And well, of course, this is going to mean a very big problem for them, and they are in pretty tough position right now, Japan's, because of course this is basically going to be meaning the end of Bustos' battle, and that will probably mean also the end of the battle in the middle as well, because Metal doesn't have to play the here anymore, and he is going to be finishing together with Influenzia with the army in there, because it doesn't seem like that Chart together with the rest are going to be just having enough in here. Yep, and GG's right now going to be called, and the game is going to be coming for USA through some very nice concentrated performance. And it seemed like that even though Wars, I kind of think they were having the good plan with Bustos coming through the middle, they just weren't able to execute properly, and unfortunately they were completely caught off guard on the left. Chart together with May absolutely didn't count with the possibility of Flu coming forward so quickly. I'm not exactly sure how that happened, but that was just a super surprise, and might have been just the winning move for USA, because they more or less crippled Chart, his economy, and overall his gameplay. And unfortunately, May wasn't in a position, he wasn't yet in the position to actually defend that. He was just advancing into the ages and getting his economy up. So yep, that was nice timing from USA. And nice booming from Spring, that just in the end was uncontested and much stronger than what Japanese players had. So we are tied at 1-1, and we are going to be heading into the home map of Japan A. Let's see what that's going to be. I would be expecting water map, I think. So that's going to be looking at the post game in here with Influenzia having the highest score. I kind of think that he deserves it. He was the most important player, even more than Spring with his boom and basically the closing touch in there. But yeah, Japanese, they went for the early aggression yet again, trying to supply it with aggression in the castle ages, but this time it didn't work as it did in the first game. Yeah, slinging from Slam, because he was of course in a very tough situation in there from Chocobo from the very early game. So he just decided, yeah, let's screw that. Let's just sling into Ally. Because at the moment he realized that Chocobo would be basically out of the game the same as him. So if he can sustain better economy and sling a bit better than Chocobo, then it's going to be working. And he slung into Flu. You can see all of it went into him, almost all of it. 15 resources actually went into Metal for some upgrade apparently. Influenzia used it very nicely, and that's also part of the reason why he was able to get into Chart so easily. Okay then, GG.